Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. My name is Denise Hutchins and I'm broadcasting to you from Studio Mikarts. Our charity of the month is Farm Sanctuary, and you can help me, help them, help the animals in two ways. One, just watch my stream today because this is the last stream of the month. And bring your friends because I'll be making a donation at the end of the month based on my unique viewers count. You can also donate to our charity fundraiser on Twitch, which we've already raised 10 out of $10 thanks to Bigman2K, but we can always exceed the goal, so please donate if you can. You can also find a link directly to Farm Sanctuary in my description on Twitch, so that's another way you could support them. It's Friday, but I'm going to work on more illustration today because, as I've been saying for the past 2 weeks, I want to get this done so I can send it out. And it could be not only Christmas cards for my friends and family, but Patreon rewards for November. So I send Patreon rewards at the end of the month. So I'll send these at the end of November. They'll arrive and it'll be December. So it will be seasonally appropriate by the time they arrive. That's how I'm imagining it anyway. So instead of Chibi Friday, I won't say it's unprecedented. I may have skipped Chibi Friday in the past. I don't do it very often. I don't remember skipping it before, but I am going to work on this illustration more instead. So hold on a second. I have a nice blanket on my chair. It's a one-piece blanket, but it's all falling off, so I needed to fix it because it was bothering me. There. Now the blanket is on the seat of the chair properly. Okay, so I've got my stuff just laid out from yesterday. I'm going to pick up exactly where I left off. What I was working on were these holly berries. So I'm just going to resume that. Oh, you know what? Oh! My elbow slipped off the arm of my chair and I sort of toppled a little bit. Okay, I wanted to make sure the volume is off on my phone. Yeah, it's not. Just in case. Okay, so volume off on my phone. I definitely turned my speakers off on my PC, so we're all good. I got the berries base color filled in on that side, so let's just start on this side. Just like every illustration stream since last week, I'm doing my best to not waste time. Just keep moving. Keep moving forward. Let's get her done. If I could finish this today, I would be ecstatic. It would be the best ever. There's a lot left to do. I always think, oh, it'll be okay. It won't take very long. Oh, it takes a long time. Oh, Exie, you can't hear? Hello. You missed all the streams this week. Can you not hear me, like, period? Is my microphone not working? I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the microphone go bounce, bounce, bounce. I'll wait and see what the response is. On watch duty. Oh! Does that mean that you can't listen to me even though you want to, or it's not? I don't know if you're hearing me. Oh! Hi, Exie! Hi! Heart. Heart, heart. Heart, 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 heart. Hi. Yay. At least the visual signals came through. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming by. Hopefully it's not that the sound on my stream is not working. Thank you so much, Exie. Oh, if you can hear me. Thank you so much for coming. Heart, heart, heart. I'll use my hand language to get the message across, hopefully. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so lucky. I'm so thankful to have Exie always supporting me here on Twitch. It can get lonely sometimes here. My channel is so small. I do a really niche kind of streaming, and I don't think I capture very many people's attention, but I have a few people I'm so thankful for. Stop by, give me encouragement, just give me companionship. It may sound silly, but it really does mean a lot to me, so thank you, XE. Hopefully my microphone is working. I see it on OBS going boom, 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 so whatever that little bar is that tells you how loud you are. Hopefully my messages were enough, my hand messages. Alright, hold on. I had a snack right before this. It was some potato chips and a Soylent bar. And now I'm really thirsty. Oh, my water's almost gone out of my cute bear water bottle. I had to turn it a certain way so that the water goes, the straws on the tail end. Man, I hope it's working. Well, I guess there is a way to check. Hold on. I'm going to turn my phone on very, very quiet. So hopefully the microphone won't capture it. Just pop onto my own stream. Which is weird because now I'm going to be watching my own stream from two areas. From two platforms. But someone, let's see. Okay, it's loaded. Is the sound on? I'm going to put my hand in to make sure that it's... Okay, it's playing. Okay, awesome. Okay, I'll close out of that. I don't need to be on my own stream. on my phone and on my PC. I verified. Yay! The sound is definitely working. Hooray! Okay. So Exie was just saying that they can't stay to listen because of their work. So good work, Exie! Ganbatte! Okay. I don't know if it's worth it to bring up the holly reference. Let's just do it. So holly photos. No, holly plant is what I searched for before. Yeah, I love this picture. It's an ad, but the photo is good. This is the reference I've been using the whole time. It's a sale photo for, let's see, fresh English holly cuttings, evergreen shrubs, live plant cutting. So, anyway, it just helps me with how should I color this. And this is actually great because look at the highlights on this photo. They are the same light source that I've already chosen, which is the light is coming from the viewer. So this was probably taken with a flash or something, or at least they have a light source pointing at the plant. So this is excellent because this reference I've been using this whole time ends up being exactly what I need. I don't have to use my imagination for the highlighting and shading. I can just follow this, what I'm seeing on these berries and leaves. Excellent. So actually what I am seeing is there's not that much shadow on them when it's highlighted from, when it's lit from the front. I've zoomed in now, super close. It's like really big. And it seems like most of the shading on the berries, with the light coming from where it is either on the very edge as it's curving around, or where it's being covered by another berry. So I shall shade with that in mind, because I did not draw these to be in a photo representation of what I'm seeing on this image. These are just my own little berries, and they landed where they landed. And I also purposefully chose a less vibrant color. As you could see in the reference photo when I held it up to the camera just now, it is very vibrant as these hats. But I want these to fall into the background a little bit because I want the hats to be the focus. So that's why I am not using the exact right color. It's on purpose. It is an artistic choice to achieve a specific outcome. These are meant to be decorations, setting the scene. Ooh, it might be getting a bit windy outside. The weather has been awesome this week. I do get disappointed. The clouds keep moving away, letting the sun out every once in a while, but for the most part, they've kept it corralled and have been protecting me with their propitious presence. I love the clouds. If you didn't notice from the way I talk about them all the time, I love the clouds. I love it when it's 100% cloudy. Give me all the clouds. Gray skies, silver skies. Yeah, even as I speak, the sun is peeking out. But we've been having lots of rain. Last week, I think we had a tiny bit of snow, a little rain-snow mix on the weekend. Wolf, hello! Thank you for joining me, yay! Two people chatting with me today. How are you? Propitious presence, Are you quoting me? I don't mind at all. I actually learned that word. This is just a little personal story. I learned that word because I had the same feeling of the meaning like blessed, but I'm actually an atheist, so that doesn't really describe how I'm feeling 100%. So I was like, there's gotta be another word. Let me get on my favorite thesaurus. I use the Merriam-Webster thesaurus all the time now. That thesaurus.com is always so laggy, full of ads. Anyway, got on there, and there it was. Propitious. That's wonderful. It's a beautiful word. I'd never heard it before. And now, it's one of my new faves. I'm pretty sure that was earlier this year, too. And it was the clouds I was trying to describe at the time, because I was out on a walk or a run or something, and I was like, oh, it's just so magical. I love the clouds covering me up, protecting me. Oh, you had to look it up. I love finding new words. I have Merriam-Webster on my bookmarks bar, and I use it so much, it's not in a folder. It is just right there on the bar. There's only, let's see, Most of my stuff is in folders. There's 3 things that I have outside because I use them. My Nintendo, the My Nintendo website, so I get my weekly coins, Merriam-Webster, and Google Gemini. That's it. Everything else is in a folder. Love looking up words, looking up synonyms. Just love language. I love being able to use such precise words to describe an exact feeling or appearance. In the book I finished earlier this year, Stephen King's On Writing, he says, don't look up words. Don't use language that you don't use because it won't feel natural. The problem for me is, even with my everyday language, when I'm crafting like a Facebook post, I'm looking up words. So it is actually part of my natural language to look up the exact word that I'm trying to find. So I did not follow that particular bit of advice. Yeah. I know what you mean. Because it's like, it's not 100%, it doesn't 100% vibe with me. But it's such a cultural thing. So that's why I search out. So like for me, I say thank goodness. So I'm like, oh, goodness, that is a universal thing. So I'll choose that kind of thing. Sometimes though, it just feels real good. It feels right culturally to say the thing even if it doesn't match your belief system. Okay, I'm bringing back in that first color that I used to create a transition between that shadow color and the base color. They blend a little bit more. Blend together. And this is adding a little bit more shadow too. That's okay. I keep saying it, the point is not to make a photorealistic image. The point is to send my feelings of holiday cheer, love, goodwill to the world. Maybe I asked you already, Wolf, but you have any fun plans for the weekend? So just house hunting? As always, if I'm asking too much, I don't mind at all if you don't answer, so. Just so you know, it's being conversational. Ah, me too. I say you guys all the time too. And it's sad because I was born in Texas. So I actually, until I started school in California, I said y'all. That was just what I said. I had a super strong Texas accent. And there's video proof of it. Little home videos. On tape. Little 3-year-old me saying, y'all. And other Texas stuff. But my social life began in school. So I quickly changed to you guys and dude and all kinds of stuff. And that's still with me. But I reclaimed y'all because I like that. It is more inclusive. So I just say a combination of them. Because sometimes it's too much. It's too much to try to correct every little thing you say. As long as it's not overtly offensive, you know? Because there's some things I learned in school and I used to say, and then I realized, oh, this is actually really mean, so I'm not going to say this anymore. I won't even mention what they are because I don't even want to bring that up. But I did say them in school because everybody else did, and so there's things like that. Yeah, let's just eliminate that kind of language. But stuff like you guys it's just not inclusive. It's biased. It's not necessarily rude or, you know. Ooh, party! Yay! That's so fun! I can never go to anyone's party because I protect my bedtime like a dragon protects its hoard. And so everybody's party is like from 6 to 10 or whatever. I'm like, I start getting ready for bed at 7, so. Oh man, same. Oh man. Plus all of my years, I've been studying Japanese since I was in junior high school. So same thing, I don't drink anymore, but when I used to, I'd either turn into my Texas childhood self as far as my speech goes, or I would just start speaking Japanese, and it was terrible Japanese because I was only like beginner level, but that's funny. The same thing comes out. That's fine though. I love different accents. Even in Japanese, the more I learn, the more easily I recognize different accents, and I've even been able to start placing them. Not just recognize, oh, this isn't standard Tokyo dialect, this is some other dialect, but... Wow. That'll be fun though. Like, I'm not against, if anybody wants to party all night, I'm not against it at all. It just doesn't work for my sleep hygiene and health and overall well-being. So, are you going to stay up all night too? Partying all night? That's so exciting. Thinking about whether I want a even darker color, because when I'm looking at these holly berries, the shadow, so the lighting is perfect for our scene here, and with this direct light on the front, the shadow is actually really hard in some areas, not all of them, but in some areas. So I'm thinking of bringing in maybe this color, a really dark color, because what we have here is these two. So taking it one more step down here. Though that said, I could do what I have been doing in multiple areas and bring in a little green to create a mixed shadow color, because combining opposites, combining complementary colors creates the most vibrant shadows. They're more interesting. So maybe I will. Let's just do it. G29, that's the darkest green I have. See what happens. Oh, fun. Oh. Communication was not easy. Yeah, I mean, even in person, it can be difficult. For a couple of years, I had weekly, we called them tutoring sessions, but it was more like language practice sessions, or I hired one of my professors, who is a native Japanese speaker, to just converse with me for an hour every week. And there would be times where I thought I was understanding, and then I completely misunderstood, because I didn't follow the logic of the language, because there's more than just words. There's there's culture involved, and so it can be really difficult. So yeah, it might help. It might help to just get a little bit of Japanese, so at least you could say stuff like, sorry, I'm not understanding, or something, and then that way there's at least no confusion over whether you're being understood, if that makes sense. Oh, yay. I'm glad you think so. Green worked well on the hats. Yeah, it seems pretty good so far on the berries. Really does create this super, super dark shadow. And then we can use the colored pencils too to, what am I trying to say? Sort of soften it up. Create a little bit more transition. And I'm trying not to put it everywhere. I'm mostly seeing it where berries are meeting one another. So if you put the dark shadow everywhere, then it flattens everything out instead of giving it more depth. So now we're at this point where we're gonna pick and choose and be a little more careful. A lot more overlap in this group of berries. More chances to put this really dark shadow in there. Whenever I say dark shadow, I'm like, I keep thinking My Hero Academia. And I just realized why. It's because it's the name of Tokoyami's quirk. Dark shadow. Dark shadow. It's like, why does it sound like I'm saying a name? I am. That's why. Okay. This berry, I'm going to make it all the way dark. Let's say it's actually getting all the way covered. Let's bring a little bit more over here too. I'm sort of looking at the clusters of berries as a whole now instead of individual pieces. So good. I always forget about this. You can mix the colors. You don't have to just keep using darker and darker, the same family of colors. Alright, let's call that good. Because I am trying now. If I can do it, I want to finish this today. Let me finish it today, please. At least the physical media. What I want to do with it digitally is mostly cleanup work, so it shouldn't take very long once I'm at that point. Okay, looking at the holly leaves, there's actually quite a bit of yellow in them. Along the mid-ribs and along the edges, you can see here in this photo. And it looks really vibrant, like neon almost. So, ooh, this looks great. Let's try this one. Yellow Green 21. Yellow Green 21. Hopefully, this is a relatively juicy marker. I'm going to pull the camera up a little bit so that these leaves at the bottom aren't being covered up. If the marker is juicy, then I will be able to use this fat end and get all the leaves really quickly, because I'm seeing it on the edges, but not all the way, and then on the midrib and a little bit coming out from those, I don't know what they are called, those veins that come out. So it'll be better if I just cover the whole thing with this green color and then add whatever other greens on top of that. And it does seem nice and juicy, so I'm very happy. Yay! Ugh, problem is the pointy parts. They're so small. So flip it around, get the small end, and then come back with big end. I can color it rather roughly because it's going to mostly get covered up with another green anyway. I just want it to look consistent. If you apply only a little area and then you cover it over, you'll be able to see the difference where you applied it because those colors will mix. Okay, I'm going to get the little pointy parts first because they're so narrow. I can't get the chisel tip in there without going outside the lines. Oh, here's another one. Yes, I am. I just changed my mind about this project because I want to get it done. I want to get it done ASAP. basically, I don't want to have to work on Thanksgiving break. I'm taking Thanksgiving week off. And if I wait to finish this until I come back, then I probably wouldn't have it done in time to meet the mailing deadline for USPS for first class mail, which is December 15th, if I'm remembering correctly. So, I'm trying to get it done today. If not, I will work on it during Thanksgiving break. Okay, all this stuff is supposed to be leaves, so I'm going to fill it in there too. Actually, the background is supposed to be leaves too, but I'm going to make it a lot darker because I want it to recede. Anyway, hopefully that makes sense as to why I am skipping Chibi Friday today. It's not because I'm not doing them anymore. Usually Chibi Friday is... I started it because I wanted to end my work week doing something really fun. Not saying what I normally do isn't fun, but sometimes it's really a lot of work, but making a chibi is usually pretty relaxing. It's a lot simpler. There's not as much thought, usually. Although I've been making those chibi buttons, so there's actually a lot of thought going in there. Today I had this feeling like, wow, I really have a lot of projects all the time. Because I was working on my novel, on editing the first draft manuscript, and I didn't want to stop. I was really enjoying working on it. I always enjoy working on it, but sometimes it's particularly fun. Today was one of those days, but I was like, no, we've got to get ready for live streaming. We have to stop. I reminded myself, you know what? This pitching project is pretty fun too. And I was like, that's right. It is. It's just as fun. And then I stopped working on a manuscript. Alright, try to get this yellow in between these fluffies on the back of Kumo's head. Having this bright yellow next to these berries feels like psychedelic or something. It's gonna look right eventually, but right now it does not look like traditional Christmas colors. I'm so glad to get color into this spot right here. Right there. Because it kept confusing me. I thought I drew the leaf wrong. I kept thinking that when I would be working in that area. And then I'd remember, oh yeah, that's just one of those veins coming out. That's not the edge of the leaf. But since it's all the same, all the leaves are the same width of line, whether it's interior or exterior, I kept getting confused, and so I'm so happy now because I've got some color in there, so I don't have to remember that this is meant to be leaf and not a weird misshapen leaf. That really is a problem. When you draw your own pictures, the more complicated they are, the easier it is to forget what you were doing, and then you color in an area and you're like, oh crap, that was supposed to be this totally different thing. And now it's all dark or whatever. But that's what good old Photoshop is for in my process. One of the many things. No matter what, you can always do something with it. You can always salvage it. It might not turn out how you originally imagined anymore. But it'll always be okay. Actually, this color, when I'm looking at it over on OBS over here, it looks pretty nice. With the nests on the bottom and even the berries, because they're all shaded, look like they're totally standing out from it. But as far as the colors go, it's actually not bad. Ooh, gotta turn it. My hand is sticking. I've put down so much marker so quickly, it's actually staying damp for longer than I expect. And so I put my hand down and I'm like, it's sticky. Okay, need me bullet tip. I've got to make sure to color in all the way up to the edges. It can be easy to neglect that, I've found, because I'll scan it in, it's all done, and then I put it into a file that is the size that I designed it to be, and then one corner is unfinished. I didn't quite get to the edge with my coloring. Dang it. Sometimes I just leave it. If it's just a little sliver, well, whatever. It just shows the cool texture of the watercolor on the paper or whatever it is. Sometimes, though, it's like a big white splotch right in the corner, and I use the Photoshop, oh goodness, what's it called? There's a tool where you can just, it's like called Stamp Tool or something. I just use that to bring in an area, duplicate an existing area, and fill in with that area the big blank white space. Almost done. Big end. Sometimes if I don't quite color to the edge, it's fine if I just make the image a little bit bigger than I intended, because I always scan it double the standard DPI, which is 300. I scan it 600 DPI, which makes this twice as big. So that way when I shrink it down, I'm not losing, I don't have to pull it up from a smaller size. I can just be shrinking it down from a big size. So say if I had missed a little line right here, I could just leave it slightly bigger than the native size, and then that's covered up by the edge of the digital image. Okay. That's all of them, right? Except for the sort of fuzzy background that I'm going to be going for. I'll show you what I'm... Oh, if I can. It wouldn't let me zoom out, but this... If you look at this image here, so much is just... Oops. So much is just black. Or maybe some little fuzzy shapes appearing from the darkness, but in general... I just want to fill it in with like green splotches, dark green splotches all around. Oh, we've got about 15 minutes left until break time. Okay, having a little more water out of my water bear. Next, a little bit more precision. We want to add the next color of green so it gets real dark. I just did the green for the middle and the edges of the leaf. And then it's like, boom, many steps darker. It's still very vibrant though. So let's see what have we got here? I definitely want something out of the, or do I? I kind of like this color. It's a little pale though. I'm looking at this color. But it is a bit pale compared to some of the options here, like maybe this one. Do I want to go into this slightly more blue color family or stick to this more yellow color family? I feel like this is more like, although there's this one over here, this is nice. Maybe not this one. That's still a little too blue. But these ones. This one I like. Let's start with this. G07. Green 07. Okay, like I said, more precision. I need to leave. So considering the marker can't be that small, it doesn't make that small of lines. I'm going to leave the mid-rib of each leaf and then try to leave what I can along the edge, but not worry about it too much, because what I'm seeing in the image is not a perfect, even, symmetrical line all around the edge. Instead, it's thicker here and thinner there, not even visible here. So I'm going to protect the mid-rib the most, and then just see what happens with the edge. Trying to protect the edge, but not being way super careful about it. I was considering trying to preserve some of this yellow on the veins that are coming out of the mid-rib, but they're so thin, I'm going to use colored pencil or probably ink. They really are, they're so tiny. How far does it go? It doesn't go all the way to the tip. It ends. Since I'm using the bullet tip to fill in small spaces, I'm making sure to move my hand and create lines that are in the direction that these veins are growing, because I'm not going to be able to avoid creating lines by coloring like this. So at least I will allow those lines to assist in creating some texture for the leaf, instead of just randomly going blah, 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 and the lines have no job to do. It's like the lines are not necessarily something you want, but since they're gonna happen anyway, you can employ them. Having this green edge is actually great because it helps separate the leaves from one another in the illustration. That's just naturally how they are, but it lends itself well to illustration. It's great when that kind of thing happens. So what I mean is, here, there's separation between this leaf and this leaf, even though it's the same colors, so it might be easy for it to get lost and feel like the same thing. We got the little edge there, helping out. Having to move the clipboard all kinds of angles in order to create these lines in the direction that I want, so hopefully I'm still staying in the camera fairly well. Haven't been checking every single time I move the clipboard. Oh my goodness, it's looking more and more Christmassy. There's a lot of these leaves left. What did I do to myself? We just gotta continue. Aoife finally decided to join me. Wow. Hello, girl. I can't pet you yet because I'm coloring this right now. Came over, stiffed my leg, and now she's curling up in what is usually Chappie's choice bed. But Chappie hasn't come over either. It's very unusual. They usually follow me like shadows, but I did a last minute super short yoga session in the den, which is next door to my studio, and they were in there with me, and they just decided to stay in there after I was done. Aoife finally said, maybe I'll come in and help in the studio. Gotta be really careful in here. So many little corners and things. Okay, before I move on to more of the center-facing leaves, let's get this little one on the side. Well, even if this does take longer than I expected, or than I hoped, I didn't really have any expectations because it always takes longer than I think. Always. But longer than I hoped. Still worth it. Because the result that I'm getting from working like this, I'm very happy with it. I'm not even done with it, and I'm already super happy. So even though my supposed faster way of working on an illustration still wasn't quite fast enough, I don't regret it. No regrets. And so here I'm not coloring all the way in with the marker. I'm going to bring in some colored pencil to get this more precise because it's just so small. I know if I apply this chisel tip in these areas, it's just going to bleed out into the area that is Kumo, and I don't want that to happen. So purposefully not coloring all the way right there. Ooh, this is a big one here. Didn't really strike me how much bigger it is than the others until I start coloring it in here. This is another one of those meditative steps. So just doing the same idea all across the image. So there's actually not a lot of deep thinking required. There are little micro decisions to be made and things to remember as you're going along. But you just sort of get lost in your thoughts as you're moving across the page. So what I'm thinking is that my back is starting to hurt. I'm sitting as properly as I can, but I've got to lean forward to color, so today it's getting to me. It is break time though. I'll finish this leaf and then we'll go on break. That's what I need. That's what my body is saying. Hey, it's a little painful right now. I need a break. But I don't like to stop in the middle of something, both for cognitive and logistical reasons. Cognitive is, if I stop right in the middle of something, it's hard to remember. It's hard to come back to it. It's easier to stop when I feel like, okay, I'm done with this step. And then the logistics is, I want to keep coloring as swiftly as possible so that I'm minimizing those lines. Like I said from the beginning, I knew I was going to have them and they are clearly visible, but I want to minimize them so that they at least look even all across each leaf. So we're good. I can resume on this one when we come back from break. Oh, it's looking so good if I do say myself. I'm looking over there at my OBS camera. So it's much smaller, which gives me an overall idea of how it's looking. When I'm looking at it with my naked eye here, I mostly like seeing these little lines here and this patch of color here. It's hard to take in the whole thing. But when you're looking at it small on my screen over there, it's much easier to see that I am creating a lovely Christmas scene. It looks so good. Oh, I'm so happy. Okay, let's take a break. Just a little 5-minute break. Get up, walk around, stretch, have some water, get a snack. I am going to put my be right back sign up and mute my mic. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Hello everyone, I'm back. I hope you had a great break. I stretched my back out as much as I could. I do feel pretty refreshed, so I'm ready to get back to work on this. No ceremony, let's get straight back into it. I did not expect these leaves to take so long to do, so I want to hurry a little bit. See if I can get these done. We've got about an hour more. At this rate though, I think I'm gonna have to just resign myself to finishing it next week. I was gonna say off stream, but I've been thinking that if I'm gonna work on it anyway, I will work on it here and everything. It's not like I have a special workspace for live streaming. I just set my camera up over my normal workspace. So I might stream next week anyway, even though I have vacation mode turned on. Aoife came in. Chappie came in with me. Well, you can see that I was petting the puppies. There's hairs all over my sleeves. Anyway, Chappie came in with me this time after break. And Aoife just came in too. So now both puppies are in their normal spots again. I'm wondering if maybe it's just because it's chilly and they didn't want to leave their warm spots on the couch that they had warmed them up while I was doing yoga. So maybe they didn't want to leave those nice warm toasty spots and have to warm up spots again in here. This is looking better and better. I am so excited. I'm so excited. Realized that something I could do to make this go a little faster, cut a little time off, is so this very background stuff, the stuff that's white now, instead of coloring it with marker, I could just fill that in digitally. And I could fill it in with a pattern too, so that it isn't just like some boring patch of black or something. It could still be adding to the scene, but since it's the background, it's not really an area of focus anyway, and that would save me a lot of time coloring all these little white patches, just literally filling them in. That's all the coloring would be, is just trying to fill them in. I could do that a lot faster on Photoshop, I think, if I just cut out all of the colored parts and then fill in the white with something else. So I think I'll do that. So that'll save me a little bit of time to get this done a little bit faster. I could even fill it in with a non-greenery type of pattern. It could be a more decorative pattern, so I don't have to try to imitate what I'm doing with markers and ink. I could let it be its own thing and still add to the Christmas vibe by choosing, probably I'd choose either a plaid pattern, or even better for this very organic collection of shapes here, something like a damask, I think that's how you pronounce it, damask pattern, because it's very elegant but also has a more organic feel. Yes, that is what I just thought of that just now. I explained it as I thought of it. Yeah, my eyes are getting tired too. I can tell when my eyes are getting tired because they'll do this thing where I'm looking at a piece, working on it, and then they just sort of go out of focus. Just randomly, like they're giving up. My eyes are like, I can't do this anymore. And then I have to stop for a split second like, whoa, dude, because I can't see anything because it's all wacky. That happened just now, so I'm like, dang, my eyes are getting tired. There's still plenty more to do. Finish shading on these leaves, because right now all I'm doing on these leaves is adding the color, the pigment. This isn't really about shading at all yet. We haven't gotten to that point. But that's the last marker task, I think. Yeah. So then we'll be done with markers. Can move on to I was gonna say colored pencils, and then I remembered. Oh yes, I wanted to do the ink first. What I wanted to do was make the lines more interesting using ink. Normally I do that first when I ink. So say I'm doing a chibi. I would do that when I'm inking the main lines. But with this, what I've found historically is even when you're using Copic-friendly, Copic-safe pens, if you put a really thick patch of ink down, the marker can make it smear. So that's why I just inked this with a thin pen and nothing extra. All the same thin line. And then color with markers. Then go back to ink, because ink does not do well on top of waxy colored pencils. So we want to get the ink enhancements done first. Then we'll do the colored pencils on top of that. Oh, we did it! We got through that patch. The holly patch. The base colors are down. Hooray! But now, let's see, gotta get back to my reference here. So there's all these really bright areas on these shiny leaves. That I will do with colored pencils, because look at that lovely texture. So I want to let colored pencils do that. But what I'm seeing is, as it gets toward the edges, these curved areas, you see that darker part. And then next to the veins as well, there's a little bit darker, like sort of underneath. So I'm going to choose a darker green and add those kind of visual ideas in. I've got this reference image still up here so that I can look at it, get ideas. I've positioned it now so I can see several different leaves. Man, hold on. I'm going to put my warmy vest. I had this fleece vest that I've been wearing this week. I took it off at the beginning of the stream because I was really warm. Probably because I had just finished doing yoga. Now it's been over an hour since then, and I'm starting to get really cold, so I'm going to put it back on. Okay, so got that back on. Let's choose a green. So the greens I've used so far was this yellow green, and then this green here. I need to go down a step. And in fact, I think I'm going to be going down 2 steps by the end. So I want to save this for that second step. So first step down could just be this one, perhaps. Seems like a good step down from here. So let's get G19 and then I think G29. Yes, I already have it out. Sweet, it's the same color I used for the shadows on the berries, so that's perfect. Okay, so all I need to get out is G19. Okay, I gotta pick a point to start. I guess I'll just start here as I have been the whole time. I'm trying to see, so it seems like the leaves sort of fold up like this along the mid-rib, and therefore one side is brighter than the other side. So I'm seeing more of this darker color on one side, but I still do see it right next to these veins and along those edges, those curvy edges. This is really hard. This is requiring a lot of thought. These leaves are shaped or facing the viewer the same way as this one that I'm seeing on the reference image, so I am going to use it to help. Oh no, this is all dry. This is totally dry. Do I have a refill for this? That's sad. It's not making a mark at all. Okay, G19 refill. Let's see if I have one. If not, I'll have to choose a different color. Wow. We've had several dry markers thus far on this project, but not a completely dry one until now. G16. Blast it. No refill for it. Oh, unless it's over here in my older style refills. Let's take a look at them. Oh my goodness, I am so lucky. There it is! Yay! So, if you watched yesterday's stream, you now get to see what I was talking about then. Yesterday I used the newer style of refills. This is the old style. So this is a much different body. It's not shaped like the marker at all. So, oh, thank goodness. You can see, it's the same. Hooray! Okay, I'm just gonna move this up because I don't want to accidentally drip. It totally will drip, and in fact, since I have it, I'm going to put this towel from yesterday down. And I'm going to spend more time. Let me do a little touch in the corner to see if the chisel tip is also dry. Oh yeah, the whole marker is totally dead. Little dry flakes came off, but didn't really make a proper marker line. Okay, I'm going to put these. So this is going to take a little longer than it did yesterday. Yesterday I just needed to get a little ink in there to juice it up, but this is completely dead, so it's the same idea. The opening on this older style is a little bit bigger, so you have to be a little more careful, but it's the same idea. You just drip ink onto the tips, let it absorb. Dang, since it's so dry, it's taking forever. It is sucking the ink up though, so that's great. Yay! Keep drawing that ink in. We've got to do both sides. It's easier to do the chisel tip because you can just put the drop on top of it, but with this larger nozzle on the older style refill, it can be a little much for the bullet tip, and it might drip. And just now a little drip came off, so I'm glad I put the towel here. Alright, we'll let that soak it up. Let's go back to this side. Well, this is why when you're working up against some sort of deadline, you should always have some backup plan for how you're going to get it done. Because this is like the perfect color. I love this color. I don't want to pick a different color. So I have to spend this time filling it in. I wonder if I lower the camera more, you can see better what I'm doing. Maybe see the, it's just so dark. So dark on the light background, but maybe you can see it. See the ink getting sucked in? I wonder if this is osmosis. So I looked it up. I think it was earlier this year. I used osmosis when I meant diffusion. And then I looked it up so that I could understand the difference. And the difference is osmosis is through a membrane. Water traveling through a membrane. So I wonder if this is osmosis because it's traveling through this marker tip material. Flipping it over so that I can get a little ink on the other side of the chisel tip while it's still being absorbed by the first side. But yeah, it's still, you can tell how dry it is because of how slowly it's taking in the ink. So it's not just that the ink is traveling inside to the cartridge, it's having to sort of trailblaze its path because it's all dry, so it's not easy for it to travel. I'm turning it because it keeps looking like the ink is going to drip off before it can get fully absorbed. I'm so glad I had a refill. I'm so happy. I do not have refills for every color. The refills are quite expensive. They're something like $6 or $7 each. Sometimes I have actually quite a collection of refills because I've been able to find good sales here and there on online art stores. Like, oh man, I gotta get this now while they're only $3 each. They're half off. So that's why I actually have a fairly good collection. But I don't have every color. So I am going to hope that that is good enough. I'm going to cap this and let it sit here horizontally for a minute. Hopefully the ink will come in while I put this case full of refills away. Like I said yesterday, marker refills are one of those unexpected, it just happens as it happens, expenses that Patreon and Twitch subscribers are helping me with. So, say if I didn't have a refill for this, it would be thanks to everyone's support that I will be able to get the refill. I wouldn't be able to get it during the stream. I wouldn't be able to get it so that it arrived during the stream, but I would still be able to go find one. Shop for the best price, of course. Try to make the most of it, of the funds. And there's a little bit of marker that still got off. Dang it. I'm going to see if I can awaken this a little bit by using my colorless blender. Yeah. Sorry about that squeaky. The colorless blender is basically just alcohol because it's the medium is alcohol in these markers, and then that carries the pigment. So by using this pigment-free one, it can wake that up so that I can wipe it off and it doesn't get stuck on there. Put the colorless blender away. Now, first I'm going to swipe these little crumbs that came off of the chisel tip. Swipe them into the trash. I don't want to accidentally get them somewhere that I don't want them. Oh, look how cute these two look in this frame. This is so fun. I'm having a great time. I hope you are having a great time too. There. Nice and centered. Trying to get the little camera to be at a nice angle. There, how about that? Okay, first I'm going to use my margin area to just test these tips and see what they're like. Oh, it's much better. Yay! It's alive! Oh, you can't see. There. Now you can see that it works. Yay! And they look good. Let's test the chisel tip. I don't think I'll use the chisel tip, but let's just test it. Oh yeah. It's still not awakened yet. And you can see there's little patches. Well, maybe you can't see, but I can see there's little patches that still haven't absorbed on that side. Well, it's a good thing I only wanted to use the bullet tip anyway. At last, we can get back to what I was trying to do, which is shade these leaves. I'm going to use hatching to create a transition effect. I don't know if you can hear Aoife snoring a bit, but she is, and it's very cute. She's so precious. She's so lovable. Jappy's cute too. She's not snoring right now, but she's also very cute right now. Bring the camera back down. Yeah, I am seeing them on this side too. It's darker patches. Alright, not bad. Then when we get those highlighty glowy patches on top, it'll look really good. And there's another layer of shadow that I want to add too. 'Cause it's kind of like with the berries. Very specific areas are super dark just because of the angle they're at or being covered by other things. But this is the pattern that I'll follow for the rest of these. So we'll just move right along to this one, this patch over here. Trying to make sure the cameras are still capturing because I'm having to move this all kinds of crazy directions. A little cross hatching on this leaf just because it's behind these two So I figured it'll be in more shadow. That ping sound was Aoife changing her position. She must have knocked her claws against one of the legs of the table that she's sleeping under. Okay, bottom leaves done. Yay! Moving up. Let me look for if there is one in this photo. There might not be. It's a leaf to help inspire. Shading on this because I'm not sure if I can use the same logic on all of them, but it doesn't have to be perfect either. We can just go ahead and run with it and not worry too much. But what I am seeing is some leaves are folded up like this, but some leaves are, whoa, some leaves are folded out. So I guess I just gotta pick one and go with it. Let's have this one folded out. Dang, the marker's already starting to get a little dry again. I guess I had to put a little more stuff into it, but I'll see how far I can get with it like this. Dang, I think I'm gonna have to refill it some more. The lines are getting very thin. It's too bad. This is the perfect color. I mean, it could be worse. It could be. Someone is calling me. My phone is screening it, and I do not know what they are talking about. The transliteration or something must be the transcribation? What is it? Okay, it says it's taking a message. I'll just see what it's talking about later. It was basically like a nonsense message. Probably is. I've had this same phone number since I was in either junior high or high schools when I got my first cell phone. And it was a cell phone, not a smartphone. There weren't smartphones yet. So I've had this same number, and I therefore get a lot of spam calls. So many spam calls. I just have my phone. I love the smartphone because I have my phone, screen them all. And I always figure if it's actually important, if it's a legitimate message for me, they will leave a message. Ah! was like a bubble in here and it burst and there's a little bit of ink on my fingers and stuff. Alright, back to refilling the marker. There's another way to do this, but it's even more involved. You can pull the tips out. I do have the special pliers for it. Well, they're tweezers. I have the special tweezers. And then you use an ink syringe, which I also have, and just inject the ink directly into the body of the marker. Dang. I must use this marker all the time. This must be one of my favorite colors. Thank you. Transcription. Transcribation, is that what I said? That's the new word. Transcribation. It's not translation. It's not transliteration. Ooh, the wind's picking up again outside. We have had the best weather this past week or two. So dreamy. I love it when it's like this. It could get a bit darker. The clouds could get a bit thicker, but I'm not complaining about this. This is great. There's some white patches of clouds, but there's also some really nice, dark, stormy looking ones. I figure while I'm letting the ink absorb into the bullet tip, which is the end of the marker that I'm actually using, that I'll keep working on this sad chisel tip, which is so dry that it barely made a mark when I tested it after the first round. But I think usually what is intended when you... Oh, Aoife's having a dream. She's growling. She's barking. Oh. Oops. Oh. You're all hearing this? She is having the most amazing dream. Her little tongue is sticking out a little bit. Oh good, you did hear. Whoops is off. Oh, that was incredible, Aoife. What a show. I'm so glad we could have something entertaining while I'm doing this boring process of refilling the marker. Boring process of refilling the marker, telling you about the weather I'm seeing outside. Alright. You can see why today I put this paper towel right here. I was distracted by Aoife and a big blop went right on there. Okay, I'm just gonna leave this out because it seems like I might need it again. Oh, I dripped some more just now. Well, that's not too big of a problem because, oh, I see it's dripping out of the marker. I need some time for it to absorb. Man, it's dripping out. I'll just leave it closed. I'm going to get another towel so that I can leave this marker. Oh, you can't even see. Oh, nope, I can't bring it any farther back. I'm going to leave that marker because it's dripping. Get another towel. Clean up this bits that got onto my desk. This is one of the downsides of physical media. I love physical media. It's my favorite. But sometimes you gotta deal with this kind of stuff. Okay. I'm actually going to mute my mic real quick. Put this back so you can see something interesting. I'm going to go get the rubbing alcohol out of the bathroom because I think that'll be better for cleaning this up. I'll just be right back. Boom, I'm back at the good old 70% isopropyl rubbing alcohol. I can't remember. You might be able to refill your colorless blender with rubbing alcohol. It might just literally be the same substance. But don't quote me on that. I don't remember. I don't remember if that's the case. It might be a slightly different medium. It's stained my table cover. Oh well, that's okay. At least I got it off enough that it won't be like coming with me somewhere I don't want it. Got a little green spot here. Well, you can't see it. Well, you can't see it anyway, but... Oh, you can see it. Like, there it is. A stain to remember. Alright. Got everything off that might get onto other stuff. Hopefully this isn't leaking anymore. Ah, it is leaking. It is leaking anymore. Guess it couldn't hold any more ink. I think what I was gonna say was that the intent is when you fill this up that you let it sit overnight. So I might be asking a little much of it. That might be why it's leaking. Clean the cap too. That's why it's always good to have shop towels at the ready. I didn't used to use these. Originally just used regular kitchen paper towels. But then I had my printing class for my degree. We had to take printing, as in the traditional printing methods like lino cut and, well, we didn't do lithograph. Lithograph is a little more advanced, but we did several different types. Then the pandemic hit at the time that I was in that class, so we didn't do all of the methods that we normally would, but I actually found it much more useful, the class that it became, because it was all at-home printing methods. So I loved printing with gel plates. And I still have all my stuff because I think that every once in a while I might include it in my illustrations or use it to create a cool image to be a greeting card or something, you know? And anyway, that class was where I learned about these shop towels as artist tools. They are more hardy, they last longer than a regular kitchen paper towel, and they don't create as much lint. That was the big thing for the printing class. We each had to get our own supply of these towels for cleaning stuff off because you're constantly making a mess in printing. It's very messy. I was going to say tradition, not tradition. Discipline. Or media. Discipline, media, whatever word you like. It stuck with me though. I was like, you know what? This is also good for watercolor and for anything else that I'm trying to clean up. It's really nice because it doesn't create a lot of lint. It doesn't fall apart really easy if you're using it to like scrub something. And it lasts forever. That's why I'm always reusing these same towels over and over until they're just so stained that I might risk putting stuff back on the page instead of pulling it off. But okay, I got that all cleaned up, got my workspace cleaned up. Let's return. Actually, let's test this one more time. Since it was leaking, I want to make sure it's not going to be crazy. Okay, it looks good again. Just for funsies, let's see how the chisel tip is coming along. Nope. Ugh. Depends on the part you draw with. The tippy tip is still dry bones, but the bottom area is coming back to life, so that's interesting. Hopefully by the next time I need this marker, it will have fully recovered. Alright, here we go. Back at it. It's only 4 minutes left. Ugh! I had to spend what? That was like 15 minutes refilling this. Oh well. That's life. That's how it is. That's what I get for choosing awesome physical media. I love it. I love physical media. Don't love the problems, but the perks are enough that it's worth it. I'm just going to color this whole area in. I want this area in between the berries to end up quite dark. So the berries will pop out like they do in the reference image that I'm seeing. I guess I could bring the camera back down. Nice close-up view. Two minutes. I've been so focused, I didn't even feel the buzz on my wrist for the calendar appointment. It's like I have my calendar reminder that tells me it's time to do follow-up work, so that lets me know that there's 10 minutes left in the stream. I didn't even feel that. So focused on refilling the marker. Blast it, it's already getting dry again, but we are at time, so at least there will be some time for this marker to equalize. Hopefully I remember not to put, well, I guess it'll be okay if I put it away because I used to store them up and down, but now I have a storage rack, which is how you should store them, so that it's horizontal. That way the ink stays even between tips. As long as it's not running out of ink. If it's running out of ink, that doesn't matter. Because it doesn't have enough ink to equalize. Anyway. No, wait. I'll keep this close. We'll do a last little look over. This is what we were able to get done this week. So that's actually a lot of work. We filled in all of the leaves, finished up the berries, and got, well, let's say half of the first round of shading, which is the major portion of the shading, done on the leaves. So there's not too much marker work left. So I'm considering, I'm gonna have to work on it anyway. I'm considering live streaming next week, even though technically I want to take it off. Because I want to finish this next week. Couldn't finish it this week, so I'm going to finish it next week. So, I might see you next week. Or, I might like watch a Christmas movie while I'm working on it. That would be nice too. That would feel a little bit more like I am taking time off. So, I'll think about it. Might see you next week. Might just be wishing you a happy Thanksgiving on Discord and social media. But either way, that's going to be all for me today and this week. I will see you the first week of December, if not sooner, for resuming my normal live streaming schedule. I hope to see you then. Yeah, and if I don't see you next week, I will wish you a happy Thanksgiving right now. Even if you don't celebrate, I hope that you have a wonderful Thursday next week. That's all for me. Thank you for watching.